The next morning, I woke up around 8 o'clock. I turned on the TV, and it was still all about the weather in the area where my in-laws lived. It said it had been raining pretty hard. Some of the residents had evacuated to nearby elementary schools and other shelters. I immediately called my husband, but he wouldn't pick up. My in-laws were elderly. I hoped they were not involved in the disaster. I was so worried all morning that I called my mother-in-law even though it was still very early. She immediately answered the phone. "Oh, thank God you picked up. Are you okay with all the rain over there?" "Oh, Emily, thanks for your concern. Actually, it's worse than I expected. I just evacuated with my husband to a nearby middle school." "That bad? I feared it was bad." "Well, I haven't been able to get a hold of Jason. Is he still asleep over there?" When I asked her that, her response surprised me. "What? Jason? He's not with us. Why?" "What? Well, he told me he was going on a 4-day trip with you guys. I thought you were supposed to fly out today." "A trip? I haven't heard about that." "Oh, really?" At that moment, I realized everything. My name is Emily. I am a 30-year-old office worker. My husband Jason and I got married 2 years ago, and we are happy together. We came to know each other through a blind date. I was attracted to him because I liked his face and he was a hard worker. We went out for dinner a few times, started dating, and eventually got married. We don't have any children yet. It's not that we don't try, but 2 years have passed, and still no sign of a baby. I'm not in a rush to have a baby because I'm enjoying my job and I'd like to have a little more time alone with my husband. I am a little concerned that my parents and in-laws would want to have grandchildren. Actually, I asked Jason if his parents said anything about wanting to have grandchildren, but they haven't said anything in particular. Still, we've been married for 3 years now. I won't be surprised if they say something to us. Jason often visits his parents' house. He is the same age as me, but his parents had him late. So Jason's parents were almost 10 years older than mine. That's why he often visits their house to check on them. It's Friday, so I guess I'll just go to my parents' house and stay there overnight. Okay, tell them I said hello. Jason doesn't ask me to come along, perhaps out of consideration for me. I don't have a bad relationship with my in-laws, but he seems to think that it must be hard for me to visit my parents-in-law so often. I love my husband for considerate gestures like that. When I see how much he cares about his family, I knew that one day, if we have children, we would be able to have a happy family. One day my mother-in-law's birthday was coming up, and Jason asked me if he could go on a trip for her birthday. He wanted to take a Friday and Saturday off and go on a trip for 4 days. Mom's getting old. Who knows when will be the last chance to go on a trip with her. I was a little sad to be away from my husband for almost a week, but I wanted to respect my husband's love for his mother, so I agreed. Then on Thursday night, he packed his luggage in his car and left for his parents. My in-laws lived in a different county as ours, and they no longer drive themselves. So Jason was going to drive there to pick them up. He was going to go to his parents' house on Thursday and stay the night. They would go to the airport next morning to start their trip. They are visiting Los Angeles. I've been there on a business trip myself. Los Angeles is a very nice city and has many popular tourist spots as well. If you have 4 days in LA, You can visit so many places." I hoped they would enjoy their trip. But after I sent Jason off to his parents' house, the news on the TV surprised me. The city where Jason's parents lived in had been hit hard by torrential rains. I wondered if Jason would be able to get there by car. I hurriedly texted my husband. "Are you okay driving in that rain? I saw the news." But he didn't read my message after 2 hours, and I was worried, so I called him. "Hey, what's up?" He sounded so casual I raised my voice a little. "Where are you?" "At my parents'. I told you I was going on a family trip with Mom and Dad." "I know that. I just saw you off 2 hours ago. I was worried when I saw the news. The rain seems pretty bad over there. You didn't even read my messages." "Oh, sorry about that. I had my phone on silent mode while driving, and I left it in my bag." "Yeah, it was raining pretty hard, but the roads were much better than I expected." I was relieved to hear that. "Good then. Have a safe trip." With that, I hung up and went to sleep, relieved. The next morning, I woke up around 8 o'clock. I turned on the TV, and it was still all about the weather in the area where my in-laws lived. It said it had been raining pretty hard. Some of the residents had evacuated to nearby elementary schools and other shelters. "Oh, this is pretty bad, isn't it?" I immediately called my husband, but he wouldn't pick up. I texted him. "Hey, how are you doing? Are you okay? Is it safe over there? Do you need to evacuate the house or anything?" Maybe it's because it was too early in the morning he didn't read my messages. I wondered if my husband was safe. My in-laws were elderly. I hoped they were not involved in the disaster. I was so worried all morning that I called my mother-in-law even though it was still very early. She immediately answered the phone. "Oh, thank God you picked up. Are you okay with all the rain over there?" "Oh, Emily, thanks for your concern. Actually, it's worse than I expected. I just evacuated with my husband to a nearby middle school." "That bad? I feared it was bad." "Yes, the water level kept rising last night. We knew it was too dangerous to stay there, so we evacuated before midnight." "Last night?" Something was off. My husband told me the road wasn't that bad. And when I called him around 10 p.m., he said he was at his parents' house. So it got worse very quickly after that, and then they evacuated. Was it the case? I haven't been able to get a hold of Jason. Is he still asleep over there? When I asked her that, her response surprised me. "What? Jason? He's not with us. Why?" "What?" "Well, he told me he was going on a 4-day trip with you guys. I thought you were supposed to fly out today." "A trip? I haven't heard about that." "Oh, really?" At that moment, I realized everything. Could it be? Yes, I'm pretty sure now. My mother-in-law asked anxiously, "Is Jason on his way here?" So I said, "No, apparently I was mistaken." I told her not to worry, that he was not coming. I immediately started packing. Meanwhile, I got a message back from Jason. "Everything's fine. We're at the airport and about to fly. I won't be able to reply while I'm on the plane." I couldn't help but laugh. I don't know who he's going with. I was certain that my husband was having an affair, so I decided to be ruthless and canceled our apartment. I called my parents, explained the situation, and arranged to send my stuff to my parents' house. Then I contacted a contractor to arrange the move. They said they could come right away because it wasn't a busy season for them. The next day, the contractor came and took my stuff to my parents. I had no hard evidence, but my parents were already angry about how Jason lied to me. I quickly hired a detective agency. And in the meantime, I decided to look for an apartment. About the time I arrived at my parents' house, I got a call from Jason's mom. "Emily, I was just wondering about what you said. Before Jason left, did he tell you that he was going on a trip with us?" When your mother-in-law asks you a question like this, you have no choice but to tell her. "Yes, he did. He told me you're visiting Los Angeles for 4 days to celebrate your birthday." "I never heard anything about that. Jason doesn't ever even call to wish me a happy birthday. And he hardly ever visits us, you know." "What? Wait a minute. Jason regularly visited your house on weekends to check on you guys." "We haven't seen each other lately. Maybe once or twice a year, only when he's with you, Emily." Oh boy. I was shocked. Jason had been lying to me all along. Jason's mother picked up on the discrepancies in our stories. She asked me what this could mean. I told her that I thought Jason was probably having an affair. She said, "I knew it. I am so sorry for what my stupid son's been doing to you." "Well, could you do me a favor? I am still doing some investigation on him. Could you pretend you don't know anything about this for a while?" She said she will, and we hung up. And a few days later, Jason apparently got home and called me. "Hey, where did all your stuff go?" "At my parents'. It will stay there for a while." "What? Why? Why would you do that?" "I just needed some time alone. I am not sure if we could live together anymore." "What does that even mean? What's the problem?" "Don't get me started. I just need some space. Please, leave me alone." "This is insane." He acted like he was shocked, but I thought he sounded as if he was secretly excited. Anyway, I had to buy myself some time so that he wouldn't find out that I'd set a detective on him. You might think that I shouldn't have left home right away so as not to draw suspicion from him. But obviously, you wouldn't want to see your husband knowing he's seeing another woman. I was too angry to see him and not punch him in the face. A few weeks later, the results of the investigation came back. Now that I have the evidence of his affair, I went to see Jason for the first time in a long time. "You're home at last. What the hell were you doing?" He accused me the moment he saw me. Shortly after, Jason's parents arrived. Jason flinched. "What are you doing here, Mom and Dad?" "I asked them to come over today so that they can learn about the awful things you've done." "What the hell do you mean?" He had the nerve to play dumb. I spread out the photos on the table so we all could see the evidence of the affair. Instantly, he went pale. "How did you get all these?" "You've been cheating on me all this time. You lied about your trip, and you were with this woman, huh?" When I questioned him, he got desperate and tried to explain. This must be some kind of misunderstanding. I never cheated on you, Emily." "Then why did you lie about the trip? Who did you really go with?" "I was with my friends. I thought you wouldn't like it if I told the truth, Emily. That's why I told you I was going with Mom and Dad." "Don't try to make excuses. No more lies. You said you were going to check on your parents, but you were actually meeting your mistress. That's not true. Jason was still trying to get away with it, but his parents were also there. He wouldn't stand a chance. You've never came home to check on us. You lied to Emily and you were seeing another woman. Give up already and tell her the truth. Jason's mother was so furious that Jason finally confessed to us that he had been cheating on me. The next thing I knew, Jason's father threw a punch at his son. You are the worst kind of man. Why can't you cherish your wife? Jason covered his cheek with his hand, stunned. Thank you for giving him the punch on my behalf. I thanked my father-in-law. We are over, and you'll pay me alimony. With that, I handed him the divorce papers. He said, it was just for fun. He said, don't do this, we need to talk, or something like that. But his dad thundered out and got Jason to pick up the pen and sign the papers. I collected the divorce papers that my husband had filled out. At the end, I said, Oh, by the way, I've cancelled this apartment. I told him he had to leave in 2 days. He froze. Naturally, his parents had no intention of letting him stay with them. Jason would have to find a place on short notice. Otherwise, he'll be charged with trespassing. Also, he couldn't go to his mistress's house, because she's also married. I filed for divorce, and through my lawyer, I filed a claim for alimony against my now ex-husband and his mistress. I sent a content-certified letter to the mistress's house. I guess that exposed her affair. Now Jason and his mistress had to pay her husband as well. They may be huddled together in debt now. I'm sure they are not living happily ever after. It serves them right. I, on the other hand, was able to find a nice place for myself and moved in. It's close to my office, so I'm very comfortable in my daily life. Since I don't want a relationship for a while, maybe I'll try to find a new hobby to work on in my free time. It's disgusting how Jason used his own parents to cover for his lies. It's horrible to think that if it weren't for the bad rain, she might not have found out about the affair. At any rate, it's good to know he's been punished. I hope that next time, Emily will meet a good and faithful man.